Welcome to the show. This is No Interference, and we are your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. Wild Card Weekend is a thing of the past. We're moving on to the Divisional Round, but let's start out with our reactions for y'all. I guess we can just go right into it. First game of the weekend, Seattle Seahawks at the 49ers. I guess I'll start.
Crap game.
Well, listen, it was not bad in the first half.
The first half, it was a game for sure.
And then it just got
the Seahawks were up 17-16.
Yeah.
At halftime.
Yep.
And it just fell apart.
DK Metcalf had that 50-yard touchdown. But second half was pretty much all 49ers. Geno Smith, of course, unfortunately threw an interception in the second half, I believe. He still had a solid game, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker did okay, 15 for 63. But, Brock Purdy, is he just this good? He was 18 for 30, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 131 quarterback rating.
Proofs in the pudding. No.
What proof and what pudding? Is
His
it
plays.
Kyle Shanahan's pudding, or is it Brock pudding?
I'm calling Brock pudding.
Brock pudding.
Yeah, Brock pudding now.
Brock pudding. Is it Brock? Now I can't remember his name. Brock Purdy. His own natural ability. Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think unless you're like a super hardcore like NFL fan and draft fan, scouting, all this other stuff, you probably didn't know who he was until he started. I know Mr. Irrelevant sometimes gets highlighted more than, the person picked right before him. But I didn't know who Mr. Irrelevant was this year.
I was actually talking about this today. I think I've talked about it in the past with you guys. Everyone keeps going, oh, Kyle Shanahan, anyone can play in his system. You can make an argument that, what does Purdy have now? 6 games? Garoppolo, who people up until last year liked, has never looked this good in Shanahan's offense. So is Purdy like the next Tom Brady of this era, or is he just riding a hot streak that might soon come to an end?
I would say it's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. He has. We've seen it before, right? Players come in for an injured quarterback or any player. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of film on them. Especially a third string quarterback. I'm sure NFL head coaches maybe do a little bit of maybe tape on second string quarterbacks if if they're playing a team whose quarterback is prone to injury. Maybe, I don't know if that's true or not, but third string, probably not at all. And I'm not saying he's not. I think it's harder when they're super athletic, and he seems like he's pretty athletic. He has a feel for the pocket, it looks like, and he moves around and he makes plays. I'm not saying he's, the prototype for what the quarterback is nowadays, but he looks decent. So I think it's a little bit of that. He's playing well. There's not a lot of film on him. And Kyle Shanahan is proving that he's one of the better offensive minds. He's already proven that. People already knew that. But the fact that he's able to make the offense go. And it helps that Christian McCaffrey, is he not the perfect running back for Kyle Shanahan?
Yes.
Oh, it's just funny the pieces they have. They got
Debo
McCaffrey. They have McCaffrey, who basically is the best receiving running back in the league. They have Debo, that in small spurts runs the ball sometimes better than a lot of running backs in the league. And you have Kyle Juszczyk, who he's a great utility. He can be a lead blocker. He goes under center for some packages for him. They motion him out, try and get him in mismatches or just sneak him out. And then George Kittle, who is the best tight end in the league after Kelsey. You could argue he's maybe more valuable because
blocking,
Kittle,
blocking tight end.
Kittle is basically like having a swing tackle out there every play who's an all-pro receiving tight end. So
and then don't forget Brandon Ayuk. He's got speed.
Yeah, Ayuk. Yeah,
I think it's I think it went how most people expected it to go. I was surprised Seattle had the lead at halftime. I think they had a chance to hang around, but the second half is what I expected most of the game. I think, Taylor, you said in order for them to win, or what was your bold prediction? Geno Smith was going to need to have a great game.
I think I said Purdy was going to have a couple turnovers.
I can't remember.
And I just remembered the big play in the game when Geno Smith got strip sacked in the red zone. But my bold prediction was that Geno Smith would lead a win. But I also said I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a blowout. We kind of got a bit of both. It was first half you saw the Seahawks' potential, and in the second half you saw why the Niners are the second seed in the NFC.
Yeah, when they blow them out, 25 points to 6 points in the second half. It's pretty ridiculous. They just put the gas down, never let up.
Yep. I mean, it was 17-16 to Purdy rush for a touchdown in the third quarter. Purdy scored again to Elijah Mitchell in the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was 31-17 at that point. And then Deebo Samuel had that 74-yard touchdown only a few minutes later, and that was pretty much all she wrote.
That play, that's the one that I think ripped the soul out of the Seahawks. Like,
agreed.
The game was over.
Yeah, I mean, any long touchdown like that, those are the soul crushers. I get annoyed sometimes when these defensive coordinators play that conservative defense that seems to be more relevant nowadays. But, I mean, in situations like that, I guess you would rather make a team work really hard to score a touchdown than, 75-yard bomb. It's like you're up and then you're not, or you have momentum and then you don't. So
yeah,
pretty much what we all expected, I think, from this game.
Yeah, nobody should be shocked. The Niners remove Brock Purdy and just remove quarterbacks in general, and the 49ers roster stacks up with any roster in the league, top to bottom. But moving on to the next matchup of the weekend, Saturday night, the LA Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was a bit of a roller coaster game.
Talk about Chargers charging.
I'll tell you
real quick, someone brought that up in Brandon Staley's interview. I don't know if it was after the game or like
what he said.
A couple days. Someone basically said, "Oh, same old Chargers," and he was like, "Well, we made a lot of strides this year. We went to the playoffs, he said we've never blown a 27. I think I could be misquoting, but I thought he said something along the lines of they've never blown a lead when they had a 27-point lead, so it's not the same old Chargers or something like that. And I'm just like, you're not making it any better.
20 points is not too far away. But yeah, apparently somebody told him that when he was going to get the job. I don't know if that was true or not. I thought it was true. I saw a quote that, I don't know why you want to go there. The Chargers are cursed. Like, said there's a saying called chargering, and that's what they did.
We say it all the time.
I mean, Brandon Staley is probably one of my least favorite coaches in the NFL. I think it's a bad match for Justin Herbert's development. It seems like they fired their offensive coordinator like immediately after the game. That's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was the scapegoat. Like, yes, the offense needs to put up more than 3 points and a half, but 30 points should be able to win an NFL game. And if your head coach is the defensive coordinator and you gave up more than that, like that's on you. And then the GM came out and said there was never any discussion that he wouldn't be the head coach of the future, and he has their full belief. I don't know. I mean, if you look at the Chargers, I'm just it was disappointing because, I mean, you guys know. Well, I think we're all Justin Herbert fans, but I'm a believer in Justin Herbert.
I realize the talent that is Justin Herbert, but I also like.
Well,
I feel like there's like it's hard because look at his raw numbers; they're ridiculous. But I feel like when I watch him play, yes, all the talent in the world, but like you had a 27-0 lead at one point in this game, and the Jaguars made a huge comeback. But look at Herbert; he hit 25 for 43, 273 yards, 1 touchdown. I know he was missing Mike Williams, but if you're this great transcendent quarterback, you basically need to make one drive to end the comeback, and couldn't do it.
Well, of course, the blame should be on the quarterback. You know, takes the glory and they take the blame. But I don't know. I mean, if you look at the Chargers were beat up on both sides of the football, but they were missing their 2 top receivers for chunks of the season multiple times, and they were still top 10 offense in yards. They were 13th in points for. They were 3rd in pass yards, top 15 in pass touchdowns still. And Justin Herbert had a down year, but they're rushing. They were 30th in rush yards. And then Brandon Staley, this defensive coach, they were 21st in points, 20th in yards. And then the rush defense was terrible again. And then, I don't know, like I said, I mean, they put up 30 points. And then, yes, Justin Herbert, maybe he needed to make one drive, but like the defense just needed to make one stop, and they couldn't do that. So I think it falls more on Brandon Staley than Justin Herbert.
I also don't see how you win the turnover battle 5-0.
Oof.
5-0.
Yeah, not taking advantage of opportunities. It's that simple. And the offense as a whole, maybe give Staley just head coaching duties and hire a defensive coordinator. Since you've already fired your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, hey, shout out to Asante Samuel Jr. 3 interceptions.
Beast mode.
In his first playoff game.
And doesn't come away with a win. Wow.
Now, we should give credit to Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, for sure.
Trevor Lawrence, that was probably one of the worst halves ever in playoff history for a quarterback, and then the second half he just went off.
Didn't he still throw? Wait, he threw 3 picks in the first half and 1 in the second half, or 4 total? Wasn't it 4 total?
Was it 4 in the first half?
All 4 in the first half. That'd be wild.
Hang on.
Hung in there. I mean, yeah, because you can't discredit the Jaguars, but the Chargers had the game in their hands. Tasting the divisional round, just to spit it back up.
Yeah, one of you already said it. The Chargers are going to charge, something like that.
Chargering.
Whatever it was, that's what they did, and we said it. Taylor, you say it all the time. They're cursed. They are cursed. They're cursed with Brandon Staley as a head coach.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my opinion.
There's nothing else we can say. I mean, props to the Jaguars. A lot of teams would probably maybe quit at that point. They got, props to Trevor Lawrence. You have 4 interceptions in the first half, and you come back out of the locker room, light it up with 4 touchdowns. Travis Etienne, solid game. Their defense completely buckled down in the second half. They're an interesting team. Did you guys see the video though before we move on of Trevor Lawrence trash talking during the game?
Mm-mm.
It was some of the lamest trash talk. Not as bad as Patrick Mahomes, but pretty bad.
I'm here. I'm here.
I'm right here.
Whatever.
I'm right here. All right. Next game on the schedule, Sunday, 1:00. The Miami Dolphins go to the Buffalo Bills with, what's his name? Skylar Thompson as their quarterback, and they make it interesting. Bills get out with the 34-31 win.
Ooh, doggy.
This was a game that I actually wasn't really looking forward to. I was like, snooze fest. But then the Bills just couldn't put them away.
That sack fumble fumble touchdown really made me go, is this real? Might Skylar Thompson upset the Bills?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was impressive that the Dolphins even had a chance to win. They were driving me crazy, and probably the rest of the world, with the delay of games. It seemed like they had 20, and it was like 4th and 1. I think it was the last drive of the game.
Yeah,
and they're huddled, and you see personnel running out from the huddle and personnel to the huddle, and it's like 12 seconds left, and you're like, they're not going to get it off in time. And then they all run up to the line. They barely, like, that doesn't give the quarterback any time to read the defense, like look at the defense.
To be fair, did you see Mike McDaniel's explanation?
No, I didn't.
He said that
there's no to be fair.
Well, he said that originally one of the refs, I think, gave the first down signal. And so they were calling for a first down play, and they're huddling up. And then by the time they realized it was actually 4th and 1, they had to get their 4th and 1 play call and bring out new personnel. And
that sounds like a terrible excuse.
More so though, I can't remember when in the game it was, but earlier in the game he challenged. He basically wasted a challenge, and burnt a timeout. I think it was in the third quarter.
They wasted. Yeah, they wasted, I think, a timeout on a delay of game too earlier in the half or whenever it was. I don't know. I mean, that's a plausible thing that I guess happened, but shouldn't have happened. And
I'm gonna be honest, even if what they said, like they're like, we were preparing for a first down and we realized late it was 4th and 1, I wouldn't even sub. I would just scream from the sidelines, quarterback sneak. Like, you got like an 85% chance of getting it. Like, even if the other defense hears you yelling out quarterback sneak, like, you're probably gonna get it.
If you're the Ravens.
Well, the Ravens, you can make an argument that are one of the worst 4th down teams in the league.
We'll get there. But if they thought it was first down, that meant a ref signaled first down. Like, there's no other reason.
Said that if one of the
refs, if a ref signaled first down, if a ref signaled first down, then, like, I don't know. That's just weird to me. But it happened throughout the game too, so you can't be like, that time it was the ref's fault, but the rest of the time it was our fault. Also, he was smoking a vape.
Do you think he was like
this?
No, I don't think he was. I think it was probably a pen or something.
Why his lips look so puckered?
Yeah, but
RJ's
we would have seen
the
him.
resident expert here. Did he have one or did he not?
Would we have not seen some vapor of some sort? Some smoke?
Wasn't it cold?
Yeah.
Wasn't it cold?
Well, you didn't see
exactly.
You
didn't see anything come out.
It means he wasn't breathing. He's a robot.
It was cold too. He could have been just blowing, even though he had gloves on. He could have been blowing heat into his hands.
Honestly, it looked more like he was blowing than sucking. If I'm being completely honest, don't even say anything.
Well, real quick,
family show.
Real quick,
that's what I'm saying.
More so than anything else, did this game cause concerns for the Bills?
No, I don't think so.
Josh,
I was gonna say the Bills have done this throughout the season. You know, they've had some games they looked a little rough, and Josh Allen makes mistakes. You know, there was a while there. Josh Allen was leading the league in interceptions.
Josh Allen threw 2 picks. He lost a fumble, and he was sacked 7 times.
Yeah. So if Josh Allen has a clean game, the Bills have a good game. I mean,
okay, yeah. I mean, I think you can be concerned. Like that they didn't play. Like, yeah, would you have rather have seen them 140-0? Yeah, anybody would. But it's a divisional game. They played them hard 2 times already this season. It's the third time you're playing the same team, so you already have tons of film on the other team. Both games, it seemed like they threw everything they had at each other. Especially the last game felt like a playoff game, even though Skylar Thompson was in. And that goes back to the Brock Purdy thing. I mean, Skylar Thompson had half a game, or how many games did he play this year? A full game. You barely have any. Yeah, you barely have any film on him, so you don't know his tendencies and stuff as much. Obviously, that also affects him not having experience. But I mean, the Bills could come out and. Like, if the Bills beat the Bengals 31 to whatever, what was the score for that game? The Dolphins game. Yeah, if the Bengals beat
34-31.
If the same game happens, but it was against the Bengals or something, nobody would say that. There's some concern. They'd be like, it was a hard victory. Which, I mean, it does matter, but I just don't want to say I'm concerned until they come out and they play like crap against the Bengals and lose.
And then, real quick, I gotta give credit RJ for his bold prediction. He said Diggs and Gabe Davis. I think he said they both go off and have 100 yards each, and that they did. So,
all out.
He's like, I had no idea I made that prediction.
I texted it. Taylor, I called least key player of the game, Asante Samuel, but they ended up losing, unfortunately.
So close.
Still key player. It's still key player.
Yeah, tough game.
Yeah, it sucks when you have a potential great playoff matchup like this, and then injuries kind of derail it. Yeah. Moving on to the next game on Saturday, the New York Giants go to Minnesota and beat the Vikings 31-24. A lot of people picked the Giants. I like the Giants in this game. Daniel Jones arguably had one of his best games of his career and biggest moment. 24 of 35, 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also threw in 78 rush yards on 17 carries, so he was putting in work.
Yeah, definitely the best game of his career. Got that stiff arm on Patrick Peterson. He was feeling himself after that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Vikings had a chance, but Kirk Cousins will Kirk Cousins. I think it all boiled down. The epitome of of them is that 4th and 8. You throw a 3-yard pass at TJ.
Long.
Yeah, and then you throw a 3-yard pass at TJ Hawkinson, who has a defender draped all over him. You got to try and push the ball past the first down. You got to make a play. I mean, if you can't make the play, you got to try and make a play. I mean, I'd rather you see throwing it incomplete over the top than just check down to Hawkinson. It makes makes no sense.
Apparently, Kevin O'Connell after the game said that the read was supposed to be Justin Jefferson all the way.
Well, of course, it's all Justin Jefferson.
Well, yeah, I know, but you look back to games like the Bills game, the Vikings Bills game early in the season, 4th and long.
19.
You just throw it up to Justin Jefferson and he'll make a play.
And then he gets one of the best catches of probably the best catch of his career, and then one of the top catches of the season. But what, you're not going to take a chance for your whole season on the line? Like, you're not going to make that chance? Kirky boy, come on.
I'm not even opposed to throwing to somebody else other than Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's a great, he's a decoy too. Like, he's a great player and a decoy. But yeah, I said it right after he threw the ball. Like, it just doesn't make sense why you would check the ball down in that situation to. They said it during the broadcast. It was man coverage. TJ Hawkinson, like, he's good, but he's not going to make guys miss. And, maybe there's a 1% chance that he stiff-armed that guy and got the first down, but that's not the percentages you want to play. And
I feel like there have been other tacklers there.
Yeah, and then this is just a Kirk, like, that's just a Kirk Cousins thing. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't know it was fourth down. Like, going back to the Washington days when he took a kneel instead of spiking the ball. Like, that, like, does he just have brain farts in tough situations? Like,
I think
he was like, probably leading up to the play, Justin Jefferson. I can't even say that fast. And then he hikes the ball and he's running. He's like, fourth down, third down. He throws it.
TJ!
And yeah, like,
make a play. Expecting him to break 4 tackles and dive for a first down.
Correct me if I'm mistaken, because watching all the games this weekend, it kind of blurs. That same drive in the beginning of it, weren't the Vikings bailed out on a roughing the passer? That was a questionable call.
That's when he got spun around. Yeah, he did technically smack his helmet with his hand. I saw in the replay that I didn't see anybody talk about it as much, but I definitely saw him he touched it. He didn't really hit him. It like grazed his face, it grazed. He didn't grab, it was like this. But you can't touch a quarterback in the helmet. And if that's what they're going off of, then technically that's the rule.
I was kind of confused because the judge, the ref commentator, what do they call him?
The one that's in with the crew? With
the ref that's with the crew. I don't know who it was for the game, but he pointed it out that he hit him in the helmet, but he said that kind of hit to the helmet isn't a penalty. But did they change the rules? Because I thought it was like almost no matter what.
That's how it used to be, at least.
Yeah. Now maybe they've dialed it back, because I have seen quarterbacks get hit in the face with like hands and stuff and it not been called. Maybe the refs are just dialing it back.
You remember? But I think they dialed it back. Because you remember, like, a few years ago when, like, defensive ends would be going for the strip and they literally graze the back of the quarterback's head and break the wrist, and the ref would be like, "Oh, you hit his helmet, penalty."
Yeah, it happened to, like, Tom Brady all the time back in the day on the Patriots. Like, he would get, like, you saw it all the time. They would get grazed, like, right down the face mask or and it got called all the time. But also where the ref was positioned, you would think they called it on the ragdoll tackle, but that one wasn't. Like, he pulled they said it during the game too, like, Kirk Cousins fell on the defender. If anything, he softened his blow.
Spinning a quarterback around and throwing them isn't roughing the passer. That's for sure.
Yeah, but you're right. That bailed the Vikings out, and then they still, blew it. This game, it seemed like a lot of people leading. I thought the Vikings would win. I didn't think the Vikings were a legitimate Super Bowl contender. But leading up to the game all week, it seemed like a lot of people were picking the Giants to win. I don't remember what our picks were.
I picked the
Vikings. I think me and you picked the Vikings, Sass. Or you might have picked the Giants.
The Vikings defense I just don't trust them. Well, yeah.
Didn't trust them.
Well, their defense was bad all year. I mean, they lost big and they won small. And this game, their luck ran out.
And one thing I think is interesting, so it was a close game. Saquon Barkley only gets 9 carries. Meanwhile, Daniel Jones gets 17.
17.
I mean,
I'm curious if that was the Giants' game plan or if the Vikings were like, we're not going to let Saquon Barkley beat us. And then they just let Daniel Jones kill him with reads.
No, I mean,
Giants,
if you look...
Yeah.
Good.
So the Giants could have came in with the game plan of they're going to think that we're just going to run Saquon, so maybe they're going to game plan against Saquon, so we'll do the opposite and run Daniel Jones. I mean, that's had to be pretty. I don't know, it's a pretty genius move if it was the case by Dabble, but I don't know.
Well, if you look at their season, the Giants earlier in the year were running a ton of like option plays for Daniel Jones to give it to Saquon or take it off and run or bootlegs to run or throw, but they hadn't been doing that as much at the end of the year. And then this game, I'm pretty sure most of his big chunk plays on the ground were just it was a drop back.
They caught a few like QB powers, I think.
Did they? The 2 or 3 I saw, I watched the game, but I didn't see every single play. But there was a few where it was just like quarterback drop back, and then he saw man coverage or whatever the opening was, and he took it. You're right. They did call a power to the left once where
I do
they
think
blocked for him.
There is an issue across the NFL with defensive ends refusing to contain on mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like, it's my biggest pet peeve. Like, I know you want to go make the play on the running back or be aggressive and get the run stop, but there's so many mobile quarterbacks in the league these days, and so many times just on naked bootlegs, and the defensive end is just giving it up. Not once, not twice, but literally all game. Like, you can just call it all game. It's just right there every time.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely seen it.
Yeah, I don't think it's the refusal to. It's just it's hard. I mean, it's a discipline thing, I guess. But you're the coach here. I don't know.
What I think is surprising most of all, you look at Dalvin Cook. He had 6 catches for 10 yards. You look at Justin Jefferson. He has 7 catches for 40. He had like 45 yards. Like, they just couldn't. They couldn't get any explosion, and the Giants were basically forcing them into a boxing match, and tougher teams usually win those.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings also had almost half as much. No, they had 10 minutes less time of possession. I think that's right, unless I just read that wrong. But I don't know. I mean, everybody's on the Giants now, so I mean, they snuck into the playoffs and now they're world beaters because they beat the Giants. It just doesn't make sense to me. But whatever.
Well, they beat the Vikings.
Yes. Moving on to the game that everyone wants to talk about. The Baltimore Ravens go to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, and unfortunately, we're on Cincinnati. Come up short, 17-24.
It's actually a Brent Selleck quote.
So, oh yeah, his picture. Brent Selleck.
Cincinnati.
That Captain Morgan's all-time celebration. I don't care what anyone says.
Facts.
But anywho's, yeah, Ravens come up short, 17-24. Play of the game. Tyler Huntley. What?
It's a 14-point swing.
Play of the game though is Tyler Huntley on a fourth down?
It was fourth down.
4th and goal from it was 3rd and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
It's what I'm looking at says 3rd and 1 on the 1. If it was
I don't think
on
it was
the
1.5.
Yeah, it was a long one. It was basically 2 yards. And he tries to pull that Tom Brady, Cam Newton just jump up and break the goal line. And I've only ever seen one worse attempt in my life, and that was the Jay Cutler one when he got the ball uppercutted out of his hands.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But Tyler Huntley, he tries to go over top, gets the ball knocked loose by Logan Wilson. Sam Hubbard, Cincinnati's hometown hero, picks the ball up, returns it 98 yards. Mark Andrews made a valiant effort to try and stop the play, but couldn't get there, and that's basically the game.
Yeah, it literally, like, Sam Hubbard was in the right place at the right time. It landed right into his arms. It was meant to be, especially because if it was 3rd and 1.5, whatever it was, and you're doing a Tyler Huntley QB jump, not a sneak, a QB jump over the pile, it's kind of what you deserve. 3rd down, you're not going to use one of your 2 good running backs, 3 good running backs you have.
I mean,
to at least try.
The coaching staff basically immediately threw him under the bus. They all said the play was to go underneath, and that makes sense to all of everyone else besides Huntley.
Especially if you're smaller.
But it happened. I was surprised because being in the Baltimore area, I heard a lot of people go, "Oh, the Ravens figured out the Bengals offense. The Ravens can hold them and take away the fumble, and the Ravens held them to 17 points. So maybe they do know something. Just they were unfortunately not able to capitalize. When you're on your backup quarterback with pretty much no receivers, you can't spot the other team 7 points."
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Huntley had a pretty good game.
2 touchdowns.
Better than he played in the regular season for sure. That was just one of the all-time boneheaded plays and play calls. I don't like that play call anyways. Tyler Huntley's a small quarterback. Do the Ravens ever do quarterback sneaks with Lamar Jackson? I don't know if I've ever seen Lamar Jackson do a quarterback sneak.
Twice against the Titans in 2019. They got stuffed both times.
Well, twice in 2019 isn't that much.
No, in the playoff game.
I know. I'm just saying if that's the only time they've ever done it.
So it's the 3rd time they've called it of all time.
I've watched yeah, I mean, like you said, we're in the Baltimore area. I've seen a lot of Lamar Jackson in a lot of Ravens games.
Here's one thing. I get it. The quarterback sneak. I mean, it's been like the most sure thing forever. And this year, more than most, it's making a huge comeback. The Eagles take advantage of it. In the past, Tom Brady and the Patriots are basically unstoppable on it. But you're on your backup quarterback, who's not a big guy. The Bengals have a lot of beef on that D-line, and the Ravens have an undersized center. You have a 300-pound fullback and a near 250-pound running back in Gus Bus. I would have just as soon as they got into as soon as they got down on the goal line ish, I would have just been like Gus Bus, Gus Bus, Gus Bus.
Well, J.K. Dobbins think it should have been J.K. Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins.
I would have been fine with that too.
Either one over Tyler Huntley.
I'm just saying, if you have an opportunity to run up the middle with 500 pounds of beef going to the O-line, like, I'll take that.
Yeah, another thing, I know that apparently they didn't call for him to go over the top like that, but it was a pretty good announcer commentating job this weekend. They talked about it during this game. I don't remember who the commentators were for this game. It was Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico.
Boo.
But Chris Collinsworth said it, which is smart, is that if you're going to do something like that, why bunch everybody together like you're going for a regular sneak? But then it turned out that they were going for a regular sneak. Tyler Huntley just went rogue. And they were way too far out, too. They were way too far out. And you mentioned it with the quarterback sneaks. Yeah, the Eagles are great at doing it. And this is like an easy, fun thing to say, or a popular thing to say, because everybody knows that Jalen Hurts squats a ton of weight. But like, he is like a perfect quarterback to do quarterback sneaks. He's got leg power. He's not super tall, so he's stocky. Offensive line is great. It's like a perfect formula for good quarterback sneaks. Tyler Huntley's not that, and he went over top. And it was a long 3rd and 1 too, so I just didn't like the play call in general.
Do you want to know the play calling? It was 1st and 2, 1st and goal from the 2.
Yes.
1st and goal from the 2. First down, they try a swing pass to Patrick Ricard, incomplete. 2nd and goal from the 2, Gus Edwards gains a yard. That's fine. So now it's 3rd and goal from the 1. You just got a 1 yard from your last run.
A yard.
Run it again. But no, they go with the quarterback sneak. And, I'm sure someone on that sideline for the Ravens, when they called it, they're like, what's the worst that can happen?
Literally. How many people call QB sneak not on 4th down? Unless it's like inches. It's usually a 4th down, last ditch play.
That's a Madden move, honestly. Get
3rd and 1 flex.
And just sneak it.
That's a Joe Judge move.
Ooh.
But
it's QB sneak from the end zone.
I don't understand.
From your own end zone.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I know Tyler Huntley's not Lamar Jackson, but he's still one of the more athletic quarterbacks in the league. If you have 1st and 2, and I know sometimes you don't want to outsmart yourself, but I don't think you are. Like, spread it out 5 wide and read what the defense is doing and literally tell Tyler Huntley,
see a lane?
First, have like your first read and then your second read run, and either run for, if you don't have an opening for the touchdown, scramble, and then either look for an opening if they're to throw to. If there's nobody open, throw it away. Do that 4 times in a row. I just don't know how a defense can stop that 4 times in a row for only you need 1 yard. You could be in the shotgun, and if you're telling me you have 5 wide, like Tyler Huntley might not be able to at least get like a charging jump and like jump over the line rather than sneak the ball, have to come over the top. Like, you can get a running start at least from the shotgun. I wouldn't say that's the best call.
I've been saying this for years, and it finally started happening this year, but I've been saying this for years. If I was a NFL coach, I'm taking my most powerful runner, and throughout the offseason, throughout the regular season, I'm taking a few minutes almost every day, have them get under center and just take snaps. Take snaps. All year, take snaps. So when you get in that position, you could have, say, Gus Bus get right up under center, hike the ball, and you have your 240-pound running back diving, and you have your 300-pound fullback hit him in the back, and you don't risk your quarterback getting banged up. But you know who does it? The 49ers. They do it with Kyle Juszczyk all the time.
Yeah. Well, Tyler Huntley might have to get with DeAndre Hopkins' finger steroid guy this offseason. Get those dainty fingers fixed.
I think the Ravens also, they had a terrible play sometime in the second half. Maybe it was that 4th quarter drive or not, where they had Mark Andrews line up as half, like a tailback, and they ran a a halfback draw with Mark Andrews. Like, what's your goal? What do you think is going to happen in that situation? So, just bad coaching in general. John Harbaugh, also terrible game management, time management at the end.
Per usual.
I've been saying it for a few years. I think it's time to move on from him, but
I think they're committed.
Ipso facto.
Well,
fired.
All that being said, I mean, I think we were pretty much just trashing the Ravens for that entire talk. Bengals played a solid game. Their defense is, I think their defense is very underrated. But with all that being said, Tyler Huntley, with no time left, flings a fadeaway like jump Hail Mary, and
it could have been caught.
Could have
been caught.
I can't remember the receiver. Prochet inches away from getting his hands on that.
If he had some awareness,
tip ball drill. I'll say awareness check. Come on, man, tip ball.
Yeah.
Well, anywho's the last game, Monday night wild card. The Dallas Cowboys go to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers, and the Cowboys win 31-14. Aside from Brett Maher,
Need some Maher practice.
Shanked 4 straight extra points.
It's just too bad it didn't matter.
Yeah, I saw somebody tweet, did somebody get cut mid-game?
Well, Trevor texted it during the game. He was like, I hope the Cowboys lose by 4 points.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I mean, give credit where credit's due. Dak Prescott 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 143 rating. Only gets sacked one time. Tom Brady on the flip side, 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, gets the 2 sacks.
This game was crap.
The Bucs just couldn't cover. Dalton Schultz goes 7 for 90 for 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb gets 4 catches for 70 and a touchdown. And even Michael Gallup, 5 catches for nearly 50 yards and a touchdown. And then, it's just.
I had to be a lot of defensive miscommunication because the CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz were wide open way too many times.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Sometimes you just have a bad game plan. Like maybe the Buccaneers were tooled up to really, really stop the run, and the Cowboys as a team ran for
They had like
128 yards for 3.7 a carry. They ran the ball 35 times, got 1 touchdown out of it. And on the flip side, look at the Bucs. They only ran the ball 12 times. They averaged 4.3 yards a carry, but only 12 attempts as a team. They get killed in the time of possession, almost giving up 10 minutes to the Cowboys. This game was just over at halftime, basically.
Yeah, when I saw Rachaad White run, he was breaking tackles. He was good. He got a couple first downs. They definitely weren't committed to the run. Brady was definitely shooketh. The O-line did not play well. He only had sacked twice, but he got knocked down, and he had like 10 batted balls. It was bad.
I know I did pick the Buccaneers, but like RJ, you said earlier, or I think it was you, the Cowboys just had receivers that were just wide open.
Yeah, and not to discredit Dak too much, but he did have an easier outing than Tom Brady did.
I also thought that the Mike Evans Brady connection got revived, and we're going to see that happen. And I think Evans, he had 6 catches for maybe 50 yards, if that. Nothing big. Julio Jones was their leading receiver, but we all knew the Cowboys were legit. They just unfortunately didn't win their division, so they had to go on the road. But they're no joke. People are going to be wondering if Dak got over his little turnover issues. He finally had a clean game in 10 weeks, but we shall see.
One of his touchdowns went right through the defender's hands.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah,
facts.
Cool. See T.Y. Hilton still a couple clutch first downs. I hate the Cowboys.
T.Y. Hilton.
This game was garbage. The Bucs sucked. They sucked all year. They won the worst division. This happened last year to the Eagles. They won the NFC East, and they got crushed by the Bucs.
2 years ago, the Redskins.
Yeah, the Bucs defense sucked. They've had no pass rush all year. They're old. Tom Brady's old. I think he's going to retire. That's what it sounds like. He's not going to play on the Bucs. The Bucs are now cleaning house. Props to the Cowboys, though. It was Dak Prescott's best game by far this year, and that's the best time to play well is the playoffs. But yeah, did you see before we move on? Did you see Tom Brady's slide tackle? It was an interception, I think, or a fumble or something, and he tried to tackle the returner and missed, but he didn't. It was a crappy tackle. And then he tried to slide tackle him from behind. He slid and tried to trip him.
Pulling a little Mac Jones.
Yeah. And RJ, you said it was he was playing he didn't want to get hit, and that's what I've heard a lot this week. So, farewell. The run was while it lasted.
Tom Brady did that. Remember when he did it to Ed Reed when he slid and put his foot up to try to kick
him? The Buccaneers, since then, they've moved on from Byron Leftwich.
Yeah. Apparently, they're making a lot of changes on the coaching staff.
Yeah, I think they're getting ready for Brady to potentially leave. And, it's an old team, so.
Them and the Rams are in similar positions.
True.
One has Sean McVay.
I wonder where Brady's going to end up then.
Home. Home is where the heart is.
You think he's going to retire? You said that last time.
I mean,
I think
where does he go?
I think he's got
quick,
one more
where
year
does he
left.
go?
Vegas.
Is Vegas going to win with Tom Brady?
Him and his boy Mike McDaniels. Hunter Renfrow is going to have 200 catches.
Who? Mike McDaniels?
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels is garbage.
We all know this.
Yeah, RJ was right. Hit that one right in the head.
Nailed it.
Their offensive line, their defense sucks. It's been sucks. Can't even say
Max Crosby.
Yeah, I mean, they've been one of the worst defenses.
Chandler
Derek Carr's been. I would take Derek Carr over Tom Brady, depending the situation.
I swear to God, if Washington signs Derek Carr, I'm gonna
who else? The Raiders. Who else? 49ers? No.
No, they have Brock Purdy. They got
that was his favorite.
The new and improved Tom Brady.
Exactly, though. But that's what they talked about.
Some people throw out the Titans, and I really don't want them.
No.
Come on to the Commanders. Come to the nation's capital. Lead the victory.
Well, that wraps up
the receiving core.
Tom Brady buys Washington. Starts to
buys. Was he Michael Jordan? I mean,
that does it for the wild card weekend. Moving on to the divisional round of the playoffs. We just want to do a run through of these games, maybe some predictions in there.
Absolutely.
All right, well, kicking off the week, Saturday 4:30, we have the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Currently, the Chiefs are 9-point favorites. What do you guys think?
They're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fair. I mean, the Jags did something cool this past weekend. And, I definitely don't doubt Trevor Lawrence's ability at the quarterback position. Doug Peterson's done a great job, but this is the Chiefs. Upsets happen, but I don't see why the Chiefs can't go in there and win by 10 points. Firing all cylinders.
They played once this season already. It was a 10-point game, 17-27. Chiefs favor. Trevor Lawrence played pretty well. He took a lot of sacks, and Patrick Mahomes played really well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The Chiefs' defense isn't great, but they do get after quarterbacks. I think they were third. They're second and third in the league in sacks. So they're going to likely put up some points, force Jacksonville to throw the ball, and unlike the Chargers, they're going to be able to get after them.
Yeah, I just think, Patrick Mahomes is going to be a little too much for the Jaguars in general. I would love for it to be a shootout. I just, good stepping stone for the Jaguars this year. Doug Peterson has proved he's a top tier coach. Trevor Lawrence looks like he was deserving of that number one pick selection. But the Chiefs have been here, done that. Now, if the Chiefs come out and they think it's been here, done that, Jaguars are easy money, then it could be a different situation. Also, I don't think this would happen to the Chiefs, but the Jaguars did just come back from 27-0. So, they'll play to the final whistle. I think the Chiefs will probably win by... I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars cover the spread, but maybe like a 7-point game, 6-point game in favor of the Chiefs. I want to give the Jaguars a little bit of credit.
I'm thinking 31-24 Chiefs.
It's a fair score.
The cover.
I think it'll be a little lower than that. I'm thinking 17 to 23.
I'm going to say 31-21, 10 points.
Here's the thing, though. The Chiefs are coming off rest, and Andy Reid's basically undefeated off of a bye.
I didn't pick the Jaguars.
No, but that's just why I picked, I think the Chiefs are going to get theirs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 3 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes throws, I'll say 24. 17. Jaguar, Patrick Mahomes throws 3 touchdowns. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, like,
Two of those three are going on Travis Kelce.
My thought process is I respect Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars offense can put up points. I just think the Chiefs they're just another level. Like they're just a little above.
They can't afford to do what they did last week. That's the Jaguars. Like the Chiefs won't allow them to come back.
No,
Trevor Lawrence needs to play the best game of his career.
Yeah, if they get in a hole like that and they have to throw the ball, the Chiefs are just going to tee off on Lawrence.
Yep.
Yeah, no more 4 interception games in the first half. Can't be doing that.
Next up on the schedule, Saturday night, the New York Giants are going to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Eagles are currently 7.5-point favorites. Let's see, Daniel Jones taking on Jalen Hurts. This is the third matchup of these two teams. I guess we can go to you, the resident Eagles fan, Trevor.
Listen, I'm going to be biased because the slander has been disrespectful this week. Now,
slander not disrespectful.
Erroneous.
You're right. When has slander not been disrespectful? And it's especially disrespectful this week.
That was supposed to be a thought. I was like, wait a minute. I was thinking out loud. I was like, what?
Listen. The Giants had a good year, and I think it's going to be a tough game. I'm always a skeptic. I think I'm one of the more skeptical Eagles fans. I don't believe they're going to win till they win. Now, I believe they should win games, and they should win this game. But the Giants' horn is tooting loud this week. Like, they beat the Vikings. Like, no one believed in the Vikings all year. There's a few people sprinkled in here that thought the Vikings were good. But a lot of people saw their defense wasn't good. And they got lucky winning close games. And then the Giants were 9-7-1. Struggled at the end of the year. They started off really hot. But then they faced off against the Vikings. People were like, Vikings defense kind of weak. Giants can probably pull this one out. So Giants have a really good game. Win by whatever it was, a touchdown.
Touchdown. Yeah.
And now all I'm hearing this week is how good Daniel Jones is now. And I'm not saying, I never said Daniel Jones was terrible. If you can find me on the record saying that, then I'll eat my words. But I don't think I ever have. And
we talked about it. This is his year to prove it. That's pretty much it. I mean, he had a, he was lucky that he could get a fifth-year option as a quarterback, as you know.
And these are my 2 cents.
Well, I wasn't done my $0.01.
Yeah, it wasn't $0.01.
Okay,
I knew this.
Go back to your $0.01.
Okay. All I wanted to, well, now you're going to throw me off my thought, was that Daniel Jones is playing well. The Giants are playing well. I think that the Eagles lost 2 games without Jalen Hurts. Then Jalen Hurts looked rusty and still sore, and they ran a vanilla offense against the Giants in the last week of the season. And the NFL is a week by week. What have you done for me lately, or what have you shown me lately? That's what everybody remembers. So everybody's like, the Giants are gonna, like, apparently, like, the most plausible upset this weekend is Giants at Eagles. It's gonna be rapid in Philly. I think Jalen Hurts is gonna have a big game. It's been too long since we've seen him have a big game. Yeah, that's. I'll end my rant so you can give us your 2 cents.
Okay,
better be the best 2 cents I've ever gotten.
I mean, no, I was just reflecting on what you said because people were giving the Giants all this credit for beating the Vikings in a close game. The Eagles dragged the Vikings when they played them.
And the Giants.
You mean the Cowboys?
No, they dragged the Giants.
Oh, I thought you meant how the Cowboys dragged the Vikings as well.
No. Well, yeah, they did.
And Daniel Jones had his best game, and they needed it. And people are going to say, well, the Vikings had Dalvin Cook, and they had Justin Jefferson. The Eagles have A.J. Brown, who is without a doubt top 3 receiver in the league. I think you can make arguments above that. Devontae Smith, he'd be number 1 on any other team, well, almost any other team. Dallas Goedert, underrated tight end. Miles Sanders has been popping off in this system. Lane Johnson, he's back to being a full participant at practice, so he's playing. The thing about the Eagles is they have all that talent to attack you with, but they do a very good job for the most part, of scheming you up to not only make you look bad with all their Pro Bowlers they have, but they scheme up with Jalen Hurts' mobility to, like, they just embarrass you for the most part. And I know the Giants are going to come in and try and take the Washington. Who else beat the Eagles?
I think I was actually looking that up because
there was only one loss with Jalen Hurts, which was
with
Washington,
Jalen Hurts,
and then they lost. And then they lost at Washington and at home to the Saints with Gardner Minshew.
They're probably going to copy the Saints Washington game plan where control the clock, don't need to run the ball effective, just move the chains. But I mean, you can do that you can do that if you want. I just don't respect. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't respect Daniel Jones enough as a passer to say, like, if you're throwing, like, if they're going to have to throw the ball some, and if you're going to throw the ball down to Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Gardner Johnson, like, one errant pass and they're taking it. And I don't know. The Giants, I guess, are going to put out Adoree Jackson on A.J. Brown. Adoree Jackson and A.J. Brown used to be teammates. The last time A.J. Brown played his ex-teammate, he scored on him back-to-back plays and injured him for 3 weeks.
Who's that?
Christian Fulton on the Titans. He scored like a 60-yard touchdown.
Is that when he ran into him?
Well, yeah, they called it back because they said he stepped out of bounds when he called it. And the very next play, they just threw it at him again, and he ran over him and knocked him out for like 3 weeks.
Now, I will say this. My only concern is if Jalen Hurts isn't on the injury report anymore. So that tells me he's as 100% as you can be, because they always say nobody's healthy this time of the year. But that's telling me there's no concern for his injury if he's off the injury report. Now, you could say they're taking him off the injury report for, I don't know, there's no strategy to that, in my opinion. And if he's not 100% and they're not going to run the full offense, you're going to be able to tell right away. That would concern me. But if they come out and it's the same offense they ran all year, I'm not concerned. And Jalen Hurts isn't worried about taking hits, because of the last game of the season against the Giants, you could tell they weren't running design runs. I think they called one, and it was a quarterback sneak. And then Jalen Hurts rushed once, and he went straight out of bounds. And he slid early another time. It was just a completely, like, get through this game as quick as possible and as easily as possible. Because people want to talk about that game all the time. Their second stringers gave the starters all they could handle. I don't know. I would love for the Eagles to come out and win by like 20 and hush the nonsense and the hate us.
Yeah, I think
it is a third division game, though.
Yeah,
I am taking the Eagles with the points, 27-17.
RJ?
Score?
Yeah.
28-17.
Real original.
I would like to see it be like a 30. I would like the Eagles to score 31-34, get their groove back offensively. And, I mean, if they give up 20 to the Giants, something like that. I don't need a close game. I don't want that.
Only way Giants win.
They put up 48 points on them. Yeah, I mean, they put 48 points on them the first time around. And it's in Philly. That's still an advantage.
Going back to Philly.
It's going to be a dismantling.
Philly. Going back to Philly. I don't think so. So we all three like the Eagles. Moving on to Sunday, 3:00 kickoff. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 5.5-point favorites. I've been going back and forth about this game. For whatever reason, I like the Bills. Josh Allen makes me nervous. The Bills' defense makes me nervous. I feel like the Bills have a lot to play for. And I also feel like I could be completely wrong. I feel like it is true that the Ravens figured out how to slow down the Bengals, and I think the Bills may be able to copy it. I like the Bills.
I like the Bills.
I like the Bills.
For everything you said, plus it just seems like it's the team of destiny. That's the vibe. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great game. I mean, Sunday's probably gonna be, those two matchups are gonna be more close in score wise, but go Bills.
Yeah, I mean, I like Joe Burrow. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I just think Josh Allen, talent wise, is on another level. He just has to, rein it in sometimes. He'll make a play that nobody else in the league can make, and then he'll make a terrible play. But you have to live with that sometimes.
The Bengals, with their O-line being decimated with injuries, everyone keeps saying, well, Joe Burrow played with bad O-lines to start his career, so he's used to it. But
you're never used to getting sacked 5 times.
And yeah, you can say that argument, but he's also been used to, he's been building up this internal clock all year long. And now I think it was the last 2 weeks of the year, he lost key players on that O-line. It messes up timing, and you've been drawing up plays expecting him to have so much time for his dropbacks. And now you're saying, like, look what happened to Mahomes when they played Tampa Bay. I mean, they knew they had O-line injuries. I'm sure Andy Reid was like, we need to get the ball out quick, but Mahomes couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if the Bills had Von Miller, because that would be a huge bonus with the Bengals' beat-up offensive line.
Fun fact.
Go ahead.
Since Von Miller has been out, the Bills have the second worst pass rush win rate. Only team that is worse is Chicago.
That's pretty bad. Now, is their tackle and guard playing, the ones that got injured last week for Cincinnati?
I don't believe so.
Williams and Kappa, whatever it is. They're both listed as questionable.
I think, I mean, I don't know. From what I think I heard that, I read that Kappa's more on the maybe not playing, but was it Connor Williams? No, Jonah Williams is maybe playing.
Well, it's supposed to be 35 and light snow according to the weather report right now, so that would be wonderful. Nothing better than some playoff football in the snow. I think both of these teams are, that won't be a big deal as far as throwing the ball and whatnot. I think it'll be a high scoring game, like 34-31. Buffalo.
Okay, all right. I'm actually calling a little different. I'm thinking Buffalo 24-23.
Let's go Buffalo 28-26.
Everything's close.
Close.
That's the way it should be.
But, I mean, will any of us be surprised if after the game Joe Burrow torches the Bills, goes off for 350 and 4 touchdowns and wins? No. We won't be surprised if Josh Allen, after the game, we check it and he scored 5 total touchdowns, rushed for 2, and it was just a freight train running over Bengals defenders. I'm hoping, I think you said, Trevor, highest scoring game. This has all the makings for the best matchup of the weekend. I just got a vibe for the Bills.
Riding it.
Yep.
Moving on. Sunday night kickoff, last game of the divisional round. The Dallas Cowboys are making the trek to San Fran to take on the 49ers. 49ers are currently 4-point favorites with Brock Purdy at the helm. I know we're a anti-Cowboy show.
That's what it is.
I'm leaning with the Cowboys on this one.
Not going to lie to you, I am too.
I know the Niners are going to do everything in their power to negate the Cowboys' pass rush. And if you slow down the Cowboys' pass rush, it kind of sucks the life out of their whole defense. But I'm going to be fair. I've been saying Brock Purdy is going to collapse. And I think this is the game.
Well, here's the thing. When did Brock Purdy take over?
Like 6 weeks ago.
So he's played Tampa Bay. Crap. Seattle. Crap defense. Commanders.
Solid.
Crap defense.
You fucker.
Raiders.
Crap defense.
Cardinals.
Crap defense.
Crap defense. Seattle Seahawks. Crap defense. So I know you need to beat who you need to beat. And they have put up a ton of points. 35, 21, 37, 37, 38, 41. That's crazy. But Dallas is the best defense he's played. If definitely the best pass rush they've played. I know the Cowboys pass rush dropped off the last second half of the year. But, I can't stand Micah Parsons, but he's still good. And if they're lining him up, if they're lining him up on the line all game, having him rush Purdy, and like you said, Taylor, Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure is gonna have some wild plays and bootlegs and stuff called to negate that kind of thing. I just think I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to come down to whose defense is better, which the 49ers defense is better. But I think Dak Prescott, believe it or not, is going to be able to make a play in the fourth quarter that Purdy can't.
Yeah, my score, I was leaning 2017. I think Cowboys win on a late field goal, which would be so un-Cowboy-like.
In Maher, too.
I have an X factor. It's not like a sneaky pick. It's Nick Bosa. The 49ers front is ridiculous, and they're not bad in the back end. If Nick Bosa can just be an absolute menace, changes the game for sure. But these teams are kind of similar. Like you said, Dak Prescott makes the key pass at the end of the game, get a field goal to walk it off.
Yeah, I totally disagree. Go Niners. I think the Niners, you already said the words out of my mouth, Nick Bosa is going to make Dak's day miserable. I think Trent Williams is going to shut down Micah Parsons.
They're not going to line him up on Trent Williams.
Well, then Micah Parsons is going to be the only one allowed to get pressure, leading Brock Purdy to go to the opposite side. And then you got George Kittle going to lay it down the wood. McCaffrey's going to run all over him. It's going to be bad for the Cowboys.
I'll tell you what. I'll change my pick if the first 49ers drive, if they pull out the Eagles playbook using McCaffrey and Debo to try and put Parsons on an island and play 11-on-10 football. If I see something like that in the first drive, I'll immediately change my pick. But I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair. Well, yeah, I can't change my bet, but for the last 2 weeks, I've been saying I don't think Purdy can keep this up, and I'm saying this is the game where he makes that one key mistake.
Here's the other thing. Similar to what you said, it's not really an X factor, but your X factor and there's not really anybody who can defend him in the NFL, but Christian McCaffrey, who like nobody can guard him on their team. Like they already have injuries in the secondary. Dallas has all year, and they've struggled there. I mean, Anthony Barr, Van Der Esch, like they can't guard him. So if they start lining him out wide, and you still have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, we've mentioned tons. So I mean, there is a scenario where the 49ers, have their way. I said it's going to come down to the defenses. I mean, it's probably more so going to come down to offensive line versus defensive line, which pass rush can get home more often and force the quarterbacks to make the mistakes.
100% agree with that one.
Because if there's not, if the Cowboys can't get pressure, then it's just not going to matter. The Kyle Shanahan's too good, and their offense has been too good to be able to just sit back there and do whatever we want. And then same with the Cowboys. I mean, Dak Prescott is good, and CeeDee Lamb is, they have weapons. Tony Pollard,
Schultz.
Yeah, so I mean, the 49ers are the better team. Isn't
the Cowboys O-line a little banged up too?
It is.
They've been playing like hot potato with their O-line all year, somewhat out of necessity. But
I'm a little selfish in why I want the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to win
because you want to beat them.
I would love. Yes,
I was going to say that too. I was like, that was my next. Yeah, is your reasoning because you want to face in the NFC Championship game?
I would. I think both would be tough. I just think as like for the NFL in general, a Cowboys Eagles NFC Championship would be amazing. And I would love to beat the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. Now, if the Cowboys beat us and go to the Super Bowl, I might go into like darkness forever and never return.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, you gotta risk it. You gotta risk it for the biscuit, and that biscuit's looking like Dallas Cowboys.
I don't know. I just think because especially you saw how the Cowboys O-line crumbled against Washington's defense. This Niners defense. I mean, they're a step above, a big step above us.
Well, now you're speaking facts here because I was saying the NFL is a week-to-week thing. I mean, you're right. Like Dallas, they tried to win, and they got manhandled pretty much by Washington. And then everybody's talking about last week they whooped on Tampa Bay. So you're right.
And Tampa Bay's D-line, I mean, with Vita Vea, he did get a sack. I think he's the only one that really has some couth to his name now on the D-line. We'll see. It's gonna be a good game. That's definitely the Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Niners, two most anticipated games for me. Obviously, AFC games, whatever. It's the same four we all expected to be there. I guess Jacksonville, not really, but
yeah, it'll be 4 really good games. Depending on if Jacksonville and New York play well, and so do the Chiefs and Eagles, but we'll see.
It's a great weekend. You got the rivalries of Eagles, Giants, the old school rivalry of Niners, Cowboys, and from the Niners knocking out the Cowboys last year with that terrible play call at the end of the game that we won't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Jaguars are kind of the upstart team of the year, taking on the juggernaut Chiefs. Isn't Peterson from the Andy Reid coaching tree, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So
you play for Andy Reid.
Yeah, a little bit of that, and then Bills Bengals, the game that never was. We finally see it, so
it's true.
It's a good weekend.
Couldn't agree with any of that more.
Anything else y'all want to cover for today's show?
Shout out to Ron Payne for joining the Pro Bowl starting roster. Aaron Donald backed out, so he got a bump up.
We don't care about the Pro Bowl; it's a joke.
My parting thought is I think that...
I gotta make some money this year.
My parting thought is I think the Ravens are going to sign Lamar to a massive deal.
Yeah,
he's leaving.
It's going to happen. Yeah. I was leaning your way, Taylor, for a little while there, and then there was reports today that Lamar is going to be an intricate part of finding the new offensive coordinator. I mean,
well, they're going to do everything in their power to try to get him to stay. I think the team. I'm sorry, the team's not good. The O-line improved, but it still needs help. They've receiving room needs probably two more. They need to bring in two more receivers. Dobbins seems disgruntled. They got to figure out what they're going on in their defense with Marcus Peters and Calais Campbell getting old. I just think it makes sense for both sides. Lamar can get a fresh start in a new team, and the Ravens can get an absolute haul to rebuild.
I can see it, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Not anymore.
All right, anything else? See.
Put a stamp on it.
All right. This is No Interference. Once again, we are your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. Thank you for tuning into our playoff reaction and predictions. Thank you to everyone that takes the time to watch our shows. We really appreciate it. If you aren't already, follow us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at The NI Show. If you like the show, like, share, subscribe. Once again, we're on YouTube and Spotify. So however your preferred viewing is, we are available. So thank you, and that does it for the show. Adios.
See you later.
Peace.